imagine going through security sometimes when it goes through X-ray. So some of the older models were made of like various metals.
Yes, they were.
Sure,
Yeah. So I ran, I can't remember what year it was. It was probably 2016, thereabouts. I ran a Chaos Demons army, and they were all old metal models. And the case had it specifically designed so as when you lifted it up on an angle or on its side, they were all facing the same way, so as it was pressure on the base the right way. Anyway, travel better is the whole idea. But when they put it through the X-ray, I saw it, and it was a whole bunch of these like metal demonic dogs going across the screen. And they just looked at me, and one of the guys at security is like, "That's Warhammer." Yeah. I'm like,
what is this? And you just say,
save me a 2-hour interrogation explaining what it is.
So I mean, you get some funny looks.
Yeah.
I know it's happened to me, and I know a bunch of other people it's happened to, where the security have pulled the bag aside, and you think, "Oh no, what's going on here?" And they only pulled it aside because they knew Warhammer. And
they just want to have a chat.
They just want to have a chat.
Hey guys, my name's Darcy, Farms Off Gaming. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. Today I'm joined by Josh Diffey from the Gaming Arena.
Hi all.
Today's episode, we're just going to be chatting to Josh about his business, which is quite local to us. So you want to tell everybody about where you are, what you do, and how you started, I guess.
As far as where we are, we're in Coburg North. It actually was quicker to get here than it was for me to go home, so that was nice.
Now you get to miss the traffic on the way home.
I do get to miss the traffic on the way home. So we are a large organised play space in the northern suburbs. We specialise in both miniature games and card games, but we also focus on pretty much anything gaming related, whether that be board games, role-playing games, painting and hobby, speed puzzling, which is a new one for us, which is pretty fun.
And you guys, so Josh, you've been stockers of ours for, I'd guess about a year now.
Yeah, that probably checks out.
About that. And you've been open for almost 2.
Yes.
So how did the vision, I guess, come about, and leading on for that, what made you pick the area that you're in and go with, I guess, the model that you've gone with? Because you do so much and the space is huge.
Yep.
You've got a bar. So if you want to have a beer and play some games, they're your place to go to. And there's just so much customization. There's just so much to unpack. So how did it all start?
So it started with one of my business partners, Dave. So Dave Amana and I and our partners kind of founded the vision. And it was meant to be a premium organized play space. That was its focus. Retail was always a secondary focus, which is very different from what most game stores kind of have to do. Really focused on everything related to that vision. So our tables for the miniature gamers are a meter high. They all have cup holders. They have QR codes so you can order drinks straight to your table, much like you would at a bar during COVID when it was open. We focused on northern suburbs basically because the eastern suburbs were fairly well supported by a number of different stores and places to play. And the western suburbs still had a few as well, but the northern suburbs basically had nothing. And it was a big growth corridor for, people really. Like there's so many states and whatnot as the further you go north. So that's why we chose northern suburbs. It really kind of grew from that. Even the card game tables, they're custom as well to match the same tabletop as our custom miniature game tables. So they all have like inbuilt cup holders, and for our larger events also have the QR code table service. Although we find that card gamers traditionally don't drink as much as miniature gamers, at least in a competitive environment. Our Commander nights are a very different story.
Yeah, a bit more loose and fast and loose. Yeah.
Also, our Star Wars Unlimited crew, they're a comfortable drinking.
Good drinkers.
Posse.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a drinker to play in our space, just to be clear. But it is obviously one of those perks of we're pretty much the only place that is a licensed venue.
Yeah.
It has a downside. We aren't allowed to have unaccompanied minors. So for the most part, that doesn't really impact us. But there are those 16, 17-year-old players that traditionally would be quite happy playing in an organized play space that unfortunately we can't have without a parent or guardian.
Yeah. I guess, pros and cons because, sometimes adults like to be around a broad set of adults and not have kids there. But yeah, I guess, we were talking off camera beforehand and it's great that you can have a bar there and not have to deal. You were mentioning that we've never had to cut anybody off. Like it's all really responsible and everybody respects it as well, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because we're a licensed venue. I would say if I think about miniature games and events that I've been to in the past where they've been like a BYO kind of arrangement, so you could bring your own drinks and they're in some kind of community type hall or whatnot, you did end up getting a few binge drinking kind of attitude sort of thing. But being that we're a venue with a license, it's also you have to buy your drinks, unlike being able to just bring a slab.
I feel like if it's a BYO arrangement, like that's just asking for someone to take advantage,
and
like not take advantage of it, but it getting a little bit out of hand.
Yes. So we're quite lucky. We're yet to have to, knock on wood, we're yet to actually have to cut anyone off.
That's great.
But if you're listening, you could be the first.
Just like, please no, please no, please no. And someone on the internet's probably just like, yes. But you guys, so obviously you have a lot of games that you play. Not only that, but you do a lot of customization. So you've got custom-made tables, your custom-made sort of custom order, customized playmats. You do laser etching, laser engraving, a lot of DIY stuff. It's almost like a play space, and you do have almost this pseudo miniature workshop, which is really cool.
It's not a pseudo. We are straight up. We have a workshop. Yeah. We have a laser cutter and a UV printer, which are our two biggest heavy lifters, which do all of our terrain, or at least, the majority of our terrain in our space. So as far as trying to get competitive terrain up and running, it first started because we were going to be a big space and we knew we needed about 50 tables worth of terrain of every single game system we were going to support. And to then we started 3D printing it.
Too long.
And well, it's too long, but also it's too long to paint. So the UV printer lets us print directly onto the material that we're cutting. And so we can cut, print, and assemble a table's worth of terrain or multiple tables worth of terrain in one day. And you just cannot do that with any other medium.
Media. Yeah.
Having those has then we got them, and we honestly, when we were doing the budget on the whole startup, it was like, all right, how much would I have to spend on wages just to get this stuff up and going? Even if we never sell anything, this is the right decision. But of course we do. As a result of having those, we really test the boundaries of what some of these machines can do. We started with the idea of printing on MDF, and then it was like, okay, well, can we print on acrylic? Can we print on glass? Can we print on canvas? Can we print on custom deck boxes? Wink, wink. And so I know that our first Lorcana event that we ran, we were stocking your stuff. I know that because one of the prizes we gave away was a Genesis deck box with the promo card art on the side and champion on the other side, and on the same side. Basically, it was a champion deck box, which just straight up you can't do anywhere else. And we literally printed that the day of the event.
Yeah.
In a case of, I wonder what this would do.
It printed out really well. Like I remember you just coming up to me and be like, "Oh, we did this," and I'm just like, that turned out really good.
Yeah.
Like, that's sick. Cool.
Yeah. And so pretty much every Lorcana event since, we've had Palms Off Gaming Genesis deck box, the color closest matching the card art. We've also been testing doing it on the stealth binders, which the print comes off. The print stays on and doesn't scratch and lots of stuff quite well. But we're still going to make it. I won't get more technical. But basically, to make sure it doesn't sag.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because it's like plushy.
Yeah, because it's plushy. Yeah, whereas the deck box is solid. So really good.
Yeah, like solid canvas.
It lets us do really cool stuff in an organized play space that you just can't do it anywhere else. Yeah. We've had events where the winner on their trophy has their name on it because we did the last minute printing of a certain element. Literally, once we knew the two people that could win it, we printed two versions of it.
Oh,
And
they
then
stuck it on after. Yeah,
we
okay,
stuck
cool.
it on once we knew who won.
Yeah.
And so they not only got a trophy of like, this is the event I played in and won, but it's like, it's actually got my name on it.
Yeah. Was that like immediately as it was announced? That's sick. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. So
They wouldn't expect that either.
yeah.
I was like, God, you guys are quick. Oh, yeah. You knew I'd win. Fantastic.
Yeah. So, we try and use it for everything we can. So we do a lot of organized play stuff. So people who run events in our space, we do like widgets and gadgets and tokens and all kinds of stuff with their branding on it. We've done stuff for other stores with their logos on it, with like none of our stuff on it.
Yep.
Almost like the stealth, but without the palms off in the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's really good. With the amount of stuff that you do, creatively and with the games as well, because these games are not easy games. Like they're very in-depth, they're hard, like D&D, Warhammer, they're very involved games. Would you say that starting up, that was a challenge getting, like, did you and Dave know everything going in, or did you have to pull people from other realms to help and assist with that setup? Like,
Yeah.
it's a complex thing.
It's a complex beast. We went into it with one vision, and that has changed multiple times along the way, as any big project tends to do.
Mm-hmm.
But our initial focus was always miniature games, because that's where Dave and I kind of come from.
Mm-hmm.
And with the secondary focus of card games, I had played card games for many years, but predominantly mainly just Magic. So as we brought on staff, even the staff that we brought on initially, there was a focus of miniature games. And we've been quite lucky that the staff that we have got have either embraced card games that they haven't done previously or had a passion coincidentally.
Yeah.
Anton, who looks after our One Piece and Lorcana community, Ash, who looks after our Magic community, were not brought on as Magic, One Piece and Lorcana people. It just worked for us that way.
That's great.
But we are, when we are looking at future games that are coming out, like new games come out quite regularly. Star Wars Unlimited was a game that we kind of really pushed in our space.
Because you guys are quite successful with that.
We've been quite successful with that. And
Yep.
I think part of that is we have tried to focus on, because we can't do everything, or at least not initially. You're kind of going to work your way up to it. So we've focused on games that we personally could have a passion about. So even though Dave and I weren't really card gamers, we're nerds, and Star Wars, like,
Fits the bill.
it fits the bill, yeah. And so we both got heavy into Star Wars Unlimited and pushed it real hard. But also then a lot of miniature gamers who weren't card gamers have given it a go. And a bunch of them have stuck around. Some of them haven't, because, card games weren't for them, and that's fine. But it's great to see the kind of cross-pollination of communities. And that's something that we can do in our space that a lot of other spaces can't traditionally do. So I know I've played in spaces before that they'll have multiple game communities, but they're only in on that night. And so for us, being over 800 square meters, we will have 2 different card game communities and 3 different miniature game communities all in at the same time. So you get that cross-pollination a lot better.
Yeah.
And sometimes what happens is people come in for a game or to play a game of their choice, whether that be maybe Star Wars Shatterpoint, so a Star Wars focused game. They finish the game. There's no one else to play. There's a bunch of people playing Star Wars Unlimited. And they're like, hey, come on over here.
Yeah.
Come over to the dark side. Yeah. And next thing you know, they're buying packs and cracking packs and going crazy because they crack some hyperspace foil, like legendary card of their favorite character.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I really find intriguing about a lot of the card games these days versus when I first got into card games is the amount that use already existing IP.
Yeah.
So you've got people who love the One Piece like world or the Star Wars world or the Disney world before getting into the game, and then suddenly they're building a deck around their favorite character. And regardless of if that's the best deck to do, it's like, no, I will do this.
Yeah, I found that it's been that's what got me into Commander because the boys were playing here. So I mean, that gives credence to the methodology that you guys have is just like, it's cross-pollination of things. So if people are playing it around you, you're more likely to take it up. So, and then, I was cracking packs of Lord of the Rings because I love Lord of the Rings. So I was just like, all right, well, I've already got a bunch of cards. So, and that's the only decks I built for a long period of time was just the Lord of the Rings decks. So it works quite well. And they're on it now. They're, cross IP, Universes Beyond, whatever. And then you've got Bandai, Union Arena that's sort of out, but not popular here, which crosses like Bleach and all that sort of stuff as well. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
There's Universes.
Universes.
That had My Hero Academia. And
Union Arena is another one.
Okay, I haven't come across that one yet.
Yeah, we expected it to be like launch, go really hard personally here, but we haven't seen it take off that much, which is surprising.
So I mean, new card games, if they're not an IP that people already know, and can pull people in from outside of card gamers, so like non-card gamers into, you're really just stealing or pinching players from an existing base because not too many players can really afford to
keep up with
multiples.
Yeah.
And so what you end up with is, yes, you might bring out a game. And I think for a lot of people that are in the card game store kind of space, like a perfect example of that would be Flesh and Blood is a great game, but it predominantly has taken competitive Magic the Gathering players across rather than bringing in new players. And so you just got to work out, what are you cannibalizing in your space?
Yeah, makes sense. With all your card games, you got Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons. I guess what TCG games hit the hardest in your store for viewers as well? It's like they might be interested in coming down.
So I think the biggest community we have is now Magic the Gathering, which was a slow grow for us, and it's predominantly Commander.
Yep.
We had nothing specifically planned on Friday night. Technically, we had it in Event Link in the app to say, we have stuff on for Commander, just a casual night. But generally Friday Commander wasn't really that big for us. Tuesday is. And like 24 people just rocked up on Friday.
Cool.
And we're like, awesome. All right. That was unexpected. We have the space, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
80 people could have rocked up and we could have made it work. All right. But it was a bit of a shock. Magic is growing, I would say exponentially, especially in the Commander space, because we find that lots of people are then bringing their friends. So we're getting a lot of first-time players, and then, well, A, they get to drink. B, we've got really comfortable space.
Yeah.
It's just open as well.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing worse than going into a trading card store where they've just packed it to the rafters and it's just so like sardines.
So I mean, a lot of our, because we have pretty much permanently set up, we have enough tables and chairs for card gamers for about probably 60 plus people, just always set up, and we can expand up to I think 120, about 128 at the moment, pretty much. We have more in tables, but chairs we've got 128.
Yeah.
And so what we often find, especially with Commander, is that they're actually spreading out. So even though we have a large number of people coming, they're not having to cluster, end to end tables, giving people space. On from Magic, our next biggest would be either Lorcana or Star Wars Unlimited, I think. And then after that, we have a couple of smaller communities in One Piece, and we had a community in Soulforge Fusion, which was a bit of a niche game.
I haven't heard of that. Yeah.
It's been around for a while, but it kind of, I think it fell into that same kind of issue of just too many games.
Yes.
I personally liked it, so I brought it to the store anyway. And then they brought out an online version of their game, and so we found a lot of the players stopped coming.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So
they were traveling to our space.
Okay.
Some of them quite a distance.
Okay.
Because we're the only place that was really doing it, and then of course they could do it from home and play against people all around the world. So I appreciate the reasoning. I mean, if we had a massive community, then obviously you have that community vibe. But when you got a bit of a niche community that are all having to travel, it's a bit harder.
Yeah, it was almost have need rather than want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to play a game and you can't play it really online, I mean, because Tabletop Simulator can work for some people.
Yeah.
All right. It can, but it's not the easiest thing to get used to.
No, it's a lot of money around. Yeah.
Yeah. And whereas if there's a dedicated app like Magic the Gathering Arena or whatever it might be, then you end up having a little bit easier to get involved.
Yeah, awesome. And you guys, focusing on community as well. You also do some interesting things with memberships, and you're probably watching. They're good memberships. I was looking at them a while ago and just chatting to Jacob about them. Like, they bracket nicely. They're not over the top, and the perks are really, really good. So I guess tell us what they are, what they give, and the rationale behind wanting to pursue something like that, because a lot of people find them questionable. But I guess if you structure them the right way and they give you enough perks and they're obviously worth it, which they are, it's a great thing. So
I'll start with why you wouldn't purchase one of our memberships, which sounds like the odd way of going, but it'll make sense. So card gamers pretty much don't need to be a member in our space.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to come and play casual Commander or casual anything of the card game variety, you can come and play on our card game tables anytime. There are limited exceptions if we're like at capacity or got a big major event or things like that. But generally, you can just come play. The miniature game side, where we're providing mats and terrain of like tons of different game systems, and there's a lot of time, effort that goes into maintaining those, we charge $10 for table hire, much like you would at a billiards hall. All right. And if you're a member, you don't have to pay table hire. So we deliberately designed our lowest paid membership as just a straight up gamer membership. So if you come 2 times a month in our space, which a lot of people do, being a silver membership pays for itself immediately. And then after that, we've got memberships where you get discounts based on like you'll get a discount on the bar or you get a discount on miniature games. We have kept the discounts off card games at the moment. We're still not quite sure how to make that membership work in a way for card games because the margins on card games are pretty tight. Yeah. That's the idea. We've got a couple of card gamers that have still become members because they buy enough booze at the bar that the gold membership the gold membership pays for itself.
Yeah. There's a lot of downtime between people resolving stuff during Commander.
Yeah. Well, so the math is pretty simple. It's 10% off the bar. All right. Gold membership's $35. If you spend $350 on the bar in a month, and if you're
that's
playing,
a good innings.
You're making money, people.
Well, if you're playing, we've got people that are playing at our store 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
All right. If you're there 2 to 3 times a week, you don't actually have to have that much for it to add up. And even like, it doesn't have to be beer. Like you rock up and you buy a chocolate bar, a packet of chips, and a energy drink. Yeah. You do that a few times a week.
So it's not just the drinks,
it's just drinks everything. Drinks and snacks. Yeah. So I think that's the closest we've got to a card game one. We should have a membership which gives you discounts specifically on energy drinks. That would be an interesting one. Yeah. Or maybe that and card sleeves. So those that come to a lot of drafts.
That's a good idea. A draft pack.
A draft membership.
Yeah. Because obviously deck sleeves every time, inner sleeves every time. If you double sleeve, it does add up. So
discounted palms off blackout sleeves.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure out an arrangement.
Good product placement.
I swear they're coming again soon. Please be patient. And so pivoting to the Warhammer. So you've got quite a history in the Warhammer space. So obviously, you've captained Team Australia 2012, 2014, 2016, and coached 2019. And then, you've taken people to Europe, and you were just mentioning you're going overseas soon as well. Yeah, tell us how you got so deep into that and so involved.
Yeah. How long have we got? No.
I was about to say, if we can condense it.
Yeah, sure. So I think my Warhammer story probably starts very similar to a lot of people that play competitive Warhammer these days. And that is started when I was young, stopped multiple times along the way. And it wasn't until I was in my mid mid-20s, I think, when I was walking past a Games Workshop store, or now Warhammer store, but Games Workshop store, and was just like, I haven't done this in so long, and walked in and bought some Chaos Demons and just to build and paint and kind of get back into it. One of my work colleagues, I overheard talking Warhammer stuff. I didn't know it was to his brother at the time. I mean, they were organizing a game for the weekend. I'm like, was that Warhammer? He's like, yeah.
Back down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. And then, next thing you know, I'm spending a stupid amount of money flying around the world, playing with toy soldiers.
Yep. The dream.
The dream.
Actually, that.
But like the community in, and I think like people find communities in lots of different places, but the community in Warhammer, for me, was really important in a couple of pivotal points in my life. And so I've made a lot of really close friends. Basically every single person on my bridal party, all the dudes on my bridal party were through Warhammer.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people in that space that it's been the same. You spend a lot of time with them, you travel with them, you share life experiences with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you, spearheaded the whole OCC as well? The Oceanic Championship Circuit.
Yeah. So the Oceanic Championship Circuit was something we started a couple years back. So Warhammer traditionally hasn't had an official like worlds like a lot of card games do. Mm-hmm. And a couple years back they built one for 4 different game systems. So Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warhammer Kill Team, and Warhammer Underworlds. And I was only into 40K. Warhammer 40,000. There we go. But I was heavily involved with with Games Workshop and the events team. And they've got this golden ticket, kind of similar to invites to a lot of other kind of championship style events. And it's very expensive to get to the US. And so we ran a series of events that all kind of put money into a bit of a pool, and then we ran an end of season event which was free, and the winner got a big chunk of money towards flights and accommodation and entry to World Champs. We also did like team shirts and stuff like that. We did that for all 4 game systems, so it was really quite popular. And then since then, the bigger focus has been on 40K. The other game systems I've found have been less competitive focused, I think is a fair way of putting it. Mm-hmm. So we just recently ran the Oceanic Championships for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which was a much smaller attendance this year. And they were polled before the event because we were doing prizing in some weird and wonderful ways. Basically, none of them wanted to go to World Champs. They just wanted to go to an event. And so we did completely different prizing. Instead of having to put money towards flights and accommodation, we gave out vouchers and product and that sort of stuff. But then Warhammer 40,000, I'm expecting that to be a much bigger championship because there's a bigger focus on the competitive side. And I think that's quite interesting to see across game systems is the mentality of the player base. So in Warhammer 40,000, there's a kind of expectation of like a top heavy like prize pool. Whereas in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, there's an expectation of more of a flat prize pool with maybe more like giveaways. So the last few events, every single player has walked away with some kind of like...
It seems more community.
Yeah, more gadgets and tokens and measuring sticks and stuff like that. Whereas, Warhammer 40K, it's, there's probably more of an expectation of X number of dollars worth of product for first, second, and third. Which both are perfectly fine, right? It's just about horses for courses and knowing what that community is after, and that's our biggest challenge, is knowing some of the communities we are heavily involved ourselves. Others we rely on people in the community to do some of that work for us, and sometimes we hit the nail right on the head, and other times we miss the mark, just like any business. Yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, it helps like provide accessibility as well because flights to America are crazy expensive.
Yeah. Especially if to bring all your army with you as well, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the typical setup, like travel setup for that? Like how much volume would you expect someone to have to take?
So most people would, it does depend a little bit on the army. because some armies will have lots of models, some will have a small number depending on what style it is. But on the most part, people would fit their entire army on a carry-on bag.
Okay.
Oh, that's not so bad.
So there's a whole bunch of army cases from a bunch of different companies that are specifically designed of like this will fit in overhead, so you don't have to
Interesting.
check it.
Yeah, so,
yeah,
because you wouldn't
because-
want to leave it.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
You get to the US after a 15-hour flight
And it's
or
just
whatever.
absolutely
and
decimated.
Dreadnoughts snapped in half or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And so some people will have an army where it is too big to fit on checked in, and I have heard plenty of stories and seen plenty of situations, especially at European Team Championships and now the World Team Championships. There are armies that get there and they spend a good like 2 or 3 days just repairing them.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want to do.
Could you imagine going through the claims process as well with somebody that has no idea what Warhammer is? He's like, well, you see.
Well, imagine going through security sometimes when it goes through X-ray. So some of the older models were made of like various metals.
Yeah, yes, they were.
sure,
Yeah. So I ran, I can't remember what year it was. It was probably 2016, thereabouts. I ran a Chaos Demons army and they were all old metal models. And the case had it specifically designed so as when you lifted it up on an angle or on its side, they were all facing the same way so as it was pressure on the base the right way. Anyway, travel better is the whole idea. But when they put it through the X-ray, I saw it and it was a whole bunch of these like metal demonic dogs going across the screen. And they just looked at me and one of the guys at security is like, that's Warhammer.
Yeah.
I'm like,
what is this? And you're just there.
It's maybe a 2-hour interrogation explaining what it is.
yeah. And yeah, so I mean, you get some funny looks.
Yeah.
I know it's happened to me and I know a bunch of other people it's happened to where the security have pulled the bag aside and you think, oh no, what's going on here? And they only pulled it aside because they knew Warhammer. And
They just want to have a chat.
They just wanted to have a chat. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Get to network, get people into your store.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's so funny.
It's awesome. That's fucking awesome. So with the funding, how did you come up with the concept or how did you allocate? You don't have to go into hyper specifics of it, but obviously a portion of entry fee went towards that, or did you sort of just throw it all in?
Yeah, so what we did was we had a bunch of events that the winner would get a ticket to the finals, and then all the events could submit their event to the rankings. And so a certain number of people just got in based on winning an event, and others got in based on being consistent over a number of events.
Okay, yeah.
As far as the actual dollars, basically, if you wanted to have a golden ticket to the championships, your event had to put in $5 per player. Into a pool. All that went into a dedicated bank account. It was a incorporated association. I can't remember what it was called. But as in I'm pretty sure that's the technical term, incorporated association. Anyway, so that had its own finances. All the money went in. At the end of it, it was some of the money then went to pay for the finals.
Yep.
Because the whole idea was that the championship event was going to be a free event.
Yep. Originally,
it was going to be held at the gaming arena, and then we had a few delays, and so we didn't quite get it up and running, but we had a pretty good partner in Moondog Brewery.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and so they didn't give us a free venue, but they gave us a heavily discounted venue because I promised them our players would drink, and they did not let us down.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And so that went off real well. I mean, we had to truck in a whole bunch of stuff. So we had to hire tables and chairs and stuff that we wouldn't have had to do if it was at our venue.
Yep.
But yeah, we did that. And then there was two of the big game systems, so 40K and Age of Sigmar. First place, I think, got $2,500 towards flights and accommodation. And second place got, I think it was about $1,000 thereabouts.
Cool.
Yeah. And the two smaller game systems got a much smaller amount basically because they put less money into the pool.
It's proportional.
Yeah, it was semi-proportional. So I would say that 40K still probably, if we looked at the numbers, probably still put in a bit of money towards the smaller game systems.
Yeah, okay.
And then at the end of it, there was a small amount left over. And what we ended up doing, we published this ahead of time. It was if we had enough to put like a substantial amount into more flights and accommodation for people, we would.
Mhm.
And if it wasn't a substantial enough amount, we were going to put it into like team shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
And if there still wasn't enough, we'd just carry it over to the next year.
Yeah.
And so we ended up putting into team shirts. And so all the team went in Team Australia branded shirts, which was cool to see. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. I had a question. What does a Warhammer coach look like? What's that job title since you did that for Team Australia?
Yeah, for sure. So the year I did it is probably different to what it is now because when I did it, we'd never sent a coach and it was just me. Whereas now we send multiple coaches.
Sure.
So the coaches have dedicated roles now, whereas mine was less so. But basically, you'll usually have these days, you'll have someone who it's their job to help the players who have horde armies, so lots of models, post and pre-game to pack up their army, be able to move between tables, so as that player can focus on the next matchup.
Right.
So it's kind of like if you were playing a card game, because I know a lot of the audience would be more card game focused players. You know, if you were playing a game of Commander and at the end of it, you just left your cards on the table, all right, and someone else packed them up, put them back, put the commander to the side, put them in the case, and took it to your next table, and you rocked up and you're like, all right, let's go.
But 5x your board state at the end.
Yeah. So that's one role. We often these days will see coaches where it is literally morale and refreshments. So making sure people are fed because these are like 4-hour rounds.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's not a big break between the rounds depending on different scenarios. And so someone might not have time to have lunch. So that if you don't have time to have food between the 2 rounds and they both go for 4 hours,
you'll
that's
expire.
8 hours without food. So that they'll have chips and drinks and grapes and all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, right.
And then you'll have people that are more focused on the actual game state. So coaches, regardless of the title, at least at the World Team Championships, can't actually coach. They can't tell you what to do mid-game.
No.
They can ask you the state of the game. So like, where you're up to, how you think you're going. And they can then communicate that information to another player or a captain. And so what often will happen is I might have a list which is very, what's often referred to as grindy. It's not till late game that I might know that I need to push hard or play more defensive.
Yeah.
And so depending on how the rest of the team has gone dictates what I need to do. The year we did it, well, it was just me. We had a number of rounds where you are chess clocked with a lot of these games.
Yeah.
We had a lot of rounds where at least one of our players who had a very specific role in the team would leave the clock on himself and wait until we had enough information for him to know whether or not he had to push for something or just play conservatively. And so I couldn't tell him how to play conservative or how to push for something, but I could tell him, I need you to push or I need you to just conserve points.
Sure.
Just not how to do it.
Yeah. That's really
and
cool.
you can only speak in English.
Okay.
So it is a European event.
Yeah.
And so and your opponent has to hear anything you say.
Yeah. Okay.
So as you know, I'm not giving you tactical advice.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. Because there's nobody, you can't afford like a bunch of translators to be there to.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah. In a perfect world, you should be able to speak in whatever language, but unfortunately, that's just not the reality of it.
Yeah. There'll be some teams where they will speak in a common language that isn't English, but mostly it's the common language is English.
And how common is this? Is every professional team, they all got coaches? And like, when did that start happening as well, I guess? Like, because I imagine that originally it would just been a couple of people going to go play. They would have been professional. And then at some point, somebody's like, they've brought in coaches and other teams noticed the advantage of having that as well. Do you know when that would have possibly been?
So I reckon the main team event for Warhammer is called the World Team Championships. Prior to that, it was called the European Team Championships, but they kind of splintered off. When it was European Team Championships, I very rarely remember seeing coaches.
Okay.
The year I coached was the last year of that name and that event before it splintered off. Now, so post-COVID, I am seeing a lot more teams with coaches.
Interesting.
I think that's for two separate but both valid for the same team reason. One is you are definitely at a disadvantage if your opposing team has coaches and you don't. There is no doubt about that. But on the flip side, you've got a lot of players that you're trying to, that are that kind of next rung. They're probably the players that'll be on the next year's team kind of thing. I think, at least with Australia, it's hard for people to go every year. A lot of players do, don't get me wrong, but it's hard for people to go every year just due to the cost.
It's a large commitment.
Dean Sinbeck, who's the Australian captain this year and has been last year as well, he's done a huge effort in fundraising to hopefully try and reduce some of that burden. But even putting that aside, it's just time off work, time away from family. Some people have, who have families, it is a struggle to, even if you got the money, to be able to take, 10 to 14 days off for a non-family holiday. Bringing up those new players, getting them used to the format. There is also, before the teams event, there is this big singles event now, which didn't used to really it didn't used to be very popular, and now it is. And so you've got people that are now going specifically for the singles event to kind of test their mettle at a more global stage. And so while they're there, they may as well also coach or support their team.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, makes sense. Yep.
And there's plenty of players that don't have the maybe the capacity to keep playing at a competitive level, but the World Team Championships is a massive community, and there's a lot of man love in that space. There's a lot of hugs on day one, and probably even more so on the last day when everyone's drunk, that people just will go, like I know plenty of people that have rocked up to World Team Championships, not a part of any team. They've just come to say hi. They're predominantly European, so it's not as huge a cost for them to get there as it would be for an Australian.
That's really cool.
It is interesting.
And the topic of, circling back to how you guys heavily customize stuff in tables, fold-up table?
It's not a fold-up
flat
table.
pack.
Flat packing table?
Yeah.
Okay.
We did these custom tables, and the people who did it for us are now actually they're part of the ownership team now. So they did the tables, and a whole bunch of people loved them and said, "Hey, can we have them?" Basically, we took a bunch of the feedback we got from our tables and made a slightly shorter, slightly smaller version and made it a retail item. Nice. So we have shipped them to WA, Queensland, New South Wales. I think we shipped one to South Australia as well, and we hand delivered at least one to Victoria.
Nice.
So they're just shy of 1 meter high. They have cup holders. A couple of the people that got them with wireless chargers. So we had a few, upgrade options. Cool. And so,
nice.
Yeah.
That
was the idea.
Is that the one that I was looking at when I was in the store?
Yep.
Yeah, they are really cool.
Yeah.
So go and have a look at them. And then if you got like a little
they're really
game
sturdy
set up at home, you get one.
They're really sturdy.
Yeah.
When we got the first tables designed, we got them designed by a couple of our mates who are gamers, but they're in furniture. And the spec was they needed to be able to withstand a power lean by 2 professional gamers. So big lads. And they did one out of cheaper material than what we ended up with, just to kind of spec it out. It was just about thick MDF basically for the prototypes. And we got a photo of one of them lying over it. There's photos on our socials of me standing on one with a massive pile of Warhammer Scaventide boxes.
Yep.
There was a lot of weight on that table.
Yep. Good product testing. So with everything that you've got going on, because you've just got so much on your plate at the moment, which is great. That's why you're just like hunkering down, trying to perfect what you've currently got.
Well, we got a new laser literally today, so that was something that we're hoping to do a bit more with some of our organised play and what we can do to provide support to people who run events in our space.
Yep.
Because I think that's what we want to really try and focus a little bit more on the horizon is making our space more accommodating for people to run events in it and provide things that they just can't get anywhere else.
Yep.
And in doing that, that will grow our community and help us learn more about a game system that we may not know a lot about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Outside that, we're just constantly looking at new things. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but only 2 or 3 weeks ago was our very first speed puzzles event, and we're hoping to do that more frequently now. That was a massive success. It was a massive headache on setting the venue up because we had to move all our big tables to then put the trestles all in rows.
Yeah.
And we just never had to do that before. I'm very glad we had wheels. Outside that, where we've got a role-playing festival-style event in our space called the Rolling Realms coming up near Halloween.
Cool.
So we're going to have massive bunch of activities where people will be dressed up and medieval style and doing really cool, fun stuff. Check that space. And being fed with delicious food. And then on the Sunday, doing a whole bunch of D&D one-shots. We're doing as much community-focused stuff as we can. Because I think that is our point of difference. We are a big space and we can do it.
Yeah. So you've got obviously quite a broad roster throughout the week of what's applicable and what's going on. So I'm going to ask the question, but I don't blame you if you don't know off the back of your hand. Is what can people expect for the listeners and maybe are contemplating visiting your store, which I highly promote you to do because it's a sick space.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bar. And just good people. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, any days are closed. What's on what day?
So at the moment, we're only closed on Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
We open from 11 during the week until 10. So we're open quite late. So Tuesday to Friday. And then Saturdays, we're open 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. So a long day. And Sundays, we're open 9 till 7.
Mm-hmm.
Some Sundays we'll stay up open later. We're usually quite open about when that's going to be. It's usually because of an event that wants to go longer. We have card game stuff going on every day we're open. It's all on our socials. It's probably the easiest place to keep track of. We do a weekly post of what's coming on or what's coming up, which will focus not only on our regular stuff, every Tuesday we have our Commander Night, but it will also be okay, on this Saturday we have a given Magic event that's, an ANZ Super Series something or a pre-release or a whatever it might be. So yeah, follow us on socials and that's probably the best bet of keeping track. Outside that, if you play a game that is supported in our space, we use all the standard organized play software. So, we're in the Bandai app, we're in Event Link for Magic, we're in what was Melee, but now whatever the one is for Lorcana. I can't remember what it's called now. It's a new name. And we're starting to get into Pokemon, but that's no pun intended. It's a long journey. Yeah.
So TBA.
Yeah. So, I'm really hopeful that by the September-ish kind of release, I think, is probably when we'll start doing organized play for Pokemon. We've got the crew kind of all ready and to go. It's just the hoops you have to jump through.
Yeah.
It's the only game system I'm aware of that I've had to do a background check.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So none of the other organized play have ever done a background check on the store. I mean, they may have, but we didn't have to fill anything out.
I think that's such a standard.
I think it's more because Pokemon obviously has such a heavy focus on children.
Kids. Yeah.
Whereas most of the other card games will have kids that play, but it's not the direct focus.
Yeah.
I think one that might fit in that category would be Lorcana.
Yeah. I think it's very responsible of Pokemon to do that.
That's what I mean.
No,
yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
There's no issue with it. It was just interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah. I think that's I think it should be almost standardized across the board. But yeah, no, it's good that they do it.
Well, with Lorcana, I don't think we specifically did a background check, but we did have to sign some stuff to say that all of our front-facing staff had working with children's checks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, checks. Yeah.
So, which was real. I mean, they're really easy to get. They're just you fill out paperwork. It is a police check.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Awesome. So that's it on the horizon for you. Laser engraver, laser machine, laser cutter, and
just more and more events.
Yeah.
the more we can put in our space on non-traditional times, we want to do. We're working with, so this is, I guess, a bit of a plug for someone else, but they use that space. So we've got someone who comes in twice a week that runs D&D for kids on the spectrum.
That's wholesome.
His company is called Spectrum Quest, and so they run two days a week, and that's that kind of stuff, because it's generally during time periods that doesn't really take up our space in a way that we can do more of. We have we've got a couple of people that are ex-military that we're doing courses for, that they get funding from the government because they're injured and whatnot. And so just really trying to come up with different ways of helping people do their hobby in a way that's good for them.
Yeah, okay. How does it work with the kids? So what age bracket do they fall within?
So
Spectrum Quest.
So Spectrum Quest, they're all kids, but their parents stay in.
Okay, so they're accompanied. Yeah, because I was going to circle back to if you.
So there's actually technically, so with a responsible adult, it can't be a staff member, but it can be anyone that can be reasonably assumed to be a responsible adult. So we've had sports teams that are local to us that come in and use our projector to do stuff and do things with the kids, like prep and whatnot. And a coach. I mean, we looked into all that stuff. A coach can classify as a responsible adult. Yeah. So we technically only need the guy who runs Spectrum Quest to be there because he's not an employee of ours. However, he requires to have a parent, at least one parent, not all of them, but at least one other adult in the room with him with a bunch of kids, because all the obvious reasons without,
checks out.
Yeah, checks out.
That's a cool thing that and it's such a diverse thing for you guys to be able to do with sporting groups and just puzzles, just everything. I promote you guys to visit because very community focused. It's big space. You don't have to worry about getting too hot or overcrowded. It's awesome. Tables are sick. Bar, drinks, Red Bull, chippies, whatever you want. So go visit. But I guess plug away, where can people find you, social links, all that sort of stuff.
So we're on Instagram and Facebook are our two main sources. We do have our own Discord server with channels for all the different game systems. We run as many leagues as we can for all the different miniature games that play in our space. Leagues are kind of the lifeblood, I think, of a community because there's a whole bunch of people that might not have friends that play the game. That's the best way of them kind of getting into it. And so, we support that wherever we can. But we post regularly on socials. We do a monthly newsletter, which one of the perks of being a member is we do a raffle every month. And so if you're a member, you can get cool stuff.
Yeah, sick. Yeah. And plug the address away again for everybody.
123 Bakers Road, Coburg North.
Nice. So northern, west, northy.
Northern.
Just northern.
North.
Flat northern.
Flat north.
Yeah.
Go check them out. Six space. Can't recommend it enough.
Just off Sydney Road.
Nice. This is just to avoid the Sydney Road traffic. But pleasure you coming in. Awesome.
It was lovely
seeing you as always. So can't wait to see you in store again. And keen to see what you do with the space in the few months going forward. I think it's always going to be changing quite rapidly. So awesome. Thanks.
Thanks heaps.
Cheers, guys.